Donald Trump, in his convention speech last night, thanked the highly respected judge whom he appointed and who has seemingly gone out of her way to rule in Trump's favor repeatedly. In response to her ruling, Trump's lead defense attorney, Chris Kise, said, quote, Jack Smith, the special counsel, must now respect the rule of law, shut down his office, and end this unconstitutional abuse of power. For the record, special counsel Smith does not appear to be packing up anytime soon. His office filed an appeal with the 11th Circuit right away. Joining me now is Christy Greenberg, a former federal prosecutor who served for over a decade in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Christy, okay, this 11th Circuit has slapped down one of Judge Cannon's decisions earlier, the special master call that she made erroneously, in their words. Do you see them disagreeing with her on this decision to throw out the case?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Just to get a sense of how bad this argument is, Trump's lawyers didn't even make this argument in the D.C. case. Like, they didn't even try it. It came up during oral arguments in the presidential immunity case by Justice Thomas because he said, hey, are you arguing this here? He said, no. Trump's lawyer's like, no, we didn't. We argued it in Florida, but we didn't argue it here. Why? Why the difference? Well, there's very clear precedent in D.C. that special counsels are just fine. The two appellate courts have upheld it. There's a long history here of upholding it. And, you know, it's a deeply rooted tradition back 140 years to have special counsels. Who said that? Brett Kavanaugh. There's a Supreme Court case on point. So it's such a bad ruling. It is so devoid of, looking at the statutory text, following Supreme Court precedent and the history, that I think this will be overturned.
You mentioned Clarence Thomas and Brett Kavanaugh. Brett Kavanaugh would seem to be a supporter of the appointment of the special counsel in this case. But Clarence Thomas, I won't even call it an Easter egg. It was like a big red flag, like, hey, Eileen Cannon, in case you want to dismiss that case on charges that the special counsel wasn't, dutifully appointed, here's my opinion on that, which is in support of you dismissing this case. He wrote that in the immunity ruling. Does that suggest, okay, first of all, is this going to get appealed up to the Supreme Court? And do you think that Clarence Thomas's opinion here holds sway with the other conservative members of the court, or enough of them to uphold her decision?
So I think it will, assuming that the 11th Circuit does the right thing here and overturns her ruling, then I think that will go up to the Supreme Court. And at least it is notable that no other justice joined Justice Thomas in that concurrence. Now, the reason for that may be that the fact is no attorney had raised it before them. It had not been briefed. It wasn't argued. So they may have just not joined because it wasn't properly before them. As you point out, Justice Thomas decided to wave this flag before Judge Cannon and say, here's permission. Here's the invitation to cut and paste, essentially, my reasoning into your opinion.
Setting the Supreme Court aside for a minute, given the transparently partisan, I'm not a lawyer, but even from the outside, she looks transparently partisan. Do you think there is a real movement to file a writ of mandamus? I know that's a law school term, but basically an appeal to get Judge Cannon taken off this case. Do you think that that's something that the special counsel's office will eventually do? And do you think it could be granted by the 11th Circuit?
So I think they don't want to put the cart before the horse just yet, in that I think they want to get the ruling from the 11th Circuit that she was wrong about this special counsel appointment ruling. And once they get now 2 in a row from the 11th Circuit where they've shown that she is dead wrong on the law, then they can say, look at these 2 rulings and look at a number of other rulings that she has had, or non-rulings, as it were, in the district court, put all of that together and say, you need to remove her. I think at that point, it will absolutely be ripe, and they should do it. Don't wait. Don't let it go back to her, and then, she'll just make another ruling, and then we're here months and months and months again.
You sound sort of cautiously optimistic that this is going to find a way forward.
It's hard to say because ultimately all roads lead to the Supreme Court. Right. And so I don't think there is any way to feel confident about what they will do, given what we've seen of, the presidential immunity opinion here.
There are no guarantees anymore.
No.
Okay, Christy Greenberg, thank you for your legal wisdom, my friend.